Shalom. All praises to the Heavenly Father. Hatun Apuku Yah. Praise be to the earthly mother, the Pachamama, and all of her earthly angels, the Huaca. Praise be to the Holy Spirit, the Kahe, and the name of Hamashiach, Mata the Lamb, unification to the nation. So, guys, today we're reviewing the movie Avatar, and we're going to connect it with the elves as well as the indigenous people of the Americas, their culture, customs, and beliefs. So we're gonna get right into it. So you'll see here that the main character, he's you know, in his old world, partying and, you know, living a life that's not the best. It's pretty dysfunctional. That's pretty much what you get out of this place. You know, it's a dying world. They've pretty much successfully destroyed their world, right? And this is very reminiscent to what Western Europe was. You know, the inhabitants of Western Europe today, they're not originally from there. They come from different places, such as Central or Eastern Europe. And they kept taking over these different lands, you know, like barbarians, pretty much. And each place that they went, they destroyed it. And after they laid their waste, they go elsewhere, right? Another thing, and I want to mention this so I don't forget, is that when the Spanish were trying to come over here, they were saying how they needed to find El Dorado and the Holy Grail, or else they would die. And they were talking about the children of Israel, the Indians, or Indios, or Una gente en Dios, the children of God. So let's just start.
Let's get it straight up front. I don't want your pity. You want a fair deal?
Gotta pause this for the copyright.
On their own planet. Strong prey on the weak. It's just the way things are.
So as you can see here, they're obviously starting off this movie trying to show you that the place that they're coming from is full of dysfunction.
Nobody does a damn thing. All I ever wanted in my sorry-ass life was a single thing worth fighting for.
So obviously this person, he thinks his life is sorry. He is a cripple. But not only that, it's not just him being a cripple, it's him being in this civilization, in this world.
Candy-ass bitch.
It ain't raining, we ain't training.
Now notice, they made all this whole high-tech society, right? And now it's dying all of a sudden. That's the same thing that they're trying to do here, that they are doing here. And this is almost like a story about what they're planning to do. Like, they're trying to make it as if it's in the future when this has actually already happened. This story that they're telling is something that's already happened, yet they're trying to frame it as if this is going to happen. Like, you've already done this.
They're putting the setting of now, but they've already done this. And that's because it's the same people doing the same thing over and over. But this time around, it's not sticking. It's not going to happen again. So, I'll come back at you guys in a second. Okay, so continuing before we get to the next part of the movie, I want to bring this out. This is an ancient and modern Britons, and we've discussed this before in the video that I did on the Druids, but I want to bring this up again because this also is a big clue as to let you know who they're talking about. So in chapter 2, just to read the title, recent British nomads, gypsies of Nordfolk, Durham, and Northumberland, Moorman, Begar, gypsies, black oppressors, adjectives of color, tattooing and painting, a modern druid, blue skins and green men, unnoticed characteristics. So that's the whole title, and we're gonna get into it. Let me see. Let me see where I want to start. The things themselves are plainly allied to the weapons and ornaments of existing savage races, and we know that the people vaguely spoken of as quote unquote ancient Britons, to whom these articles are attributed, were themselves allied to such races by community of custom. They wore little or no clothing. They tattooed their bodies and faces. They painted themselves blue or green, and some tribes smeared themselves over with iron ore. Some of them are stated to have been cannibals. Could all such resemblances have existed if the races themselves, however far separated now, had not all belonged to a common stock? Can there be community of custom apparent in the most minute details without there being community of blood? So, the ancient Britons, he's saying that they painted themselves blue or green, tattooed their bodies, right? Were counted as savages. Now that sounds like pretty similar to the native races of the Americas and the Pacifics. Now he also says something interesting. By the way, this is a quote unquote white man that has written this book, and he's going to let you know who the ancient people of, or the ancient Druids and the people of ancient West Europe, how they look like. And this is why I've also been pushing the fact that the people of Shem, they don't necessarily look like Africans. They look like Pacific Islanders or Australoids. That's actually their original phenotypical look. And this is what he said. He said the same thing. So we're going to get to it. Now, when Claudian wrote, for a long time after Maurus signified a great deal more than a native of Mauritania, or it may be more correct to say that Mauritania implied as such, though in a different quarter as Scythia did. So you see that? You see when I went over in the last part about Scythia and the Scythians? See, the Scythians were also, that term was also known to be a group of dark-skinned people. I'm not saying that the Scythianic culture is all dark-skinned people, because the Israelites absorbed different cultures. But when you think of the Scythians, it wouldn't be wrong to think of a dark-skinned group of people. And that's why I said that the Scythians, as well as, these ancient people of Western Europe, these ancient people of North America, they're kind of all the same people. They're all the 10 tribes that got scattered. Continuing. Any Latin dictionary, any old one at least, will tell you that Moris is a Moor, a blackamoor, or a tawny Moor. So Moor is just someone who's of a brown skin complexion, whether it's dark skinned or light brown or whatever. But that's what a quote unquote Moor means. A Moor was also talking about someone from Mauritania, but in another way, it's also just talking about anyone who's just a dark skinned person. And Shakespeare uses the word Moor as a synonym for Negro, as that last word bears nowadays a somewhat restricted meaning. It may be better to take the old-fashioned blackamoor as the nearest English rendering of Morris, signifying thereby any black or brown-skinned man. Consequently, the translation of Claudian's line is this: He subdued the nimble blackamoors, not wrongly named the Painted People. And the British Picts, like those of other lands, stand out again as dark skinned people. A complementary witness with Morris is Gorm, found attached to the names of Highland and other chiefs and kings. So that last name, uh, Gordon or Gorman, where does it come from? That's what I said. We have a dual lineage, a mix between the European blacks and the American so-called blacks or browns, whatever you want to call them. We're a cross between the two, the northern and the southern kingdom. And the reason why they're the southern kingdom is because they pretty much ran there. Like they were getting chased out of everywhere else, and that was like the last part of where they ran to. They also owned those lands, and they weren't really able to really get to those lands because they were on islands, and even Spain, like that was, kind of out the way. The Gentiles weren't really in those areas until recently. Continuing. This word is given in the Gaelic dictionaries as signifying blue or whatever shade, also green as grass. And this recalls the fact that the indigenous tribes described by Caesar were styled both verdes or green and ceruli, blue, from the woad with which they stain their bodies, the color of which may come under either of these headings. Accordingly, when one looks again into the Gaelic dictionary, one finds that Gorman is woad. Plainly, therefore, a man who is titled Gorm is a woad-stained man. Now, although in the Gaelic of Scotland a Negro is known as Duin Dub, a black man, he is known in the Gaelic of Ireland as Duin Gorm, a blue, green, or woad-stained man, while in the Scottish Highlands the adjective glas is used to signify both swarthy and green. In Wales, it has the meaning of green or blue. In the latter country, the Gaelic gorm, spelled gorm, is equivalent to brown. What possible explanation for all these apparent confusion of terms can there be except the patient one that a brown-skinned man and a woad-colored man were one and the same? And just to read a little bit more, Morris is a word that suggests a great deal. It has this in common with the Ugarian word kara. Wow. So we've went over the Kara Katai. Why are they called the Kara Katai? Because they are the same thing as these people in the Scottish Highlands and these different places, these different Gaelic peoples, these Moorish looking peoples, these brown or dark brown people. So when we look at these different places where blue people or green people, like the Incredible Hulk, or you have Osiris or Rama, all these dark skinned people who were dark skinned historically, I'm not saying that they're all Hebrew Israelites, but I'm saying that they are dark skinned. That's all I'm really saying. And that's all it really means. But that's why I also say, like, I just say that we were melanated. I don't know what our facial features necessarily all look like. According to what everything is pointing to, it seems like we were an Australoidic looking people rather than a Congolese looking people, an African looking people. That's just from my research. So I say that, but even then, I'm just like, okay, well, that's not like a big deal. I mainly say that so people will stop making assumptions. But yes, here you go. So when we get to this part of the
movie, let's see. Now, I hope that this is not going to bring up any stupid looking ad, because that's what I was afraid of. Let's close this real quick. Okay.
Nice activity.
Go figure. Pays off 40%.
Now, this kind of reminds me of all the, the technology that they're using to try to, to be body snatchers, pretty much. You know how many, people or our people they kidnap? Do you know that Native American women get kidnapped more than everyone else pretty much on Earth? Did you know that? And the only close second to them are the Black Americans because they're pretty much the same thing. Ooh, like, this stuff is really crazy.
Going in. I'm going in 4.
Just pausing for the copyright.
Pave on 99%. Link is stable.
This is like a wet dream for the Caucasian. They can put their brain in the body of one of us. Oh my gosh. Have you guys heard of that meme? That they had this racist ass meme that they had a while ago? Like, oh, the brain of a white man and the body of a black man. How screwed are you? Like, what? What do you mean the brain of a white man? You mean the brain and the ambitious desire to conquer and destroy everything? I don't know what you mean by that, but okay. So what color is his skin? What color is his skin? It's blue. So what are they trying to tell you?
In response, normal.
What are the shape of his ears? They look pointy like elves, right? So as you're gonna see that this is the elves and the natives are the one and the same. They're one and the same. That's why they're different pieces of them in this story that they're telling.
How you feeling, Jake?
Hey guys. Welcome to your new body, Jake.
Good.
I'm gonna take this nice and easy, Jake.
And notice how tall they are too. Right? And I'm not saying like most of the Indians actually aren't very tall, but some of them are very tall. And especially the ones that they met in North America were pretty tall.
And touch your thumb to your fingers?
Yeah.
On your fingers.
No problem.
Yeah, I can see you can remember that one.
Got it.
Well, if you want to sit up, that's fine.
Okay, good. Just take it nice and slow, Jake. Okay, well, no trunk will attack you. That's good.
If you lightheaded or dizzy,
Uh-huh.
wiggling your toes.
Good, Jake. Just the motor control is good. Good, Jake.
Feeling any numbness or pain?
That's great, Jake. Hold on now, don't take it easy. Don't get ahead of yourself, okay? There's a few more seconds.
Look at his hair, bro. He has a single braid. No, hold on. I gotta show you guys this. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this real quick. You see a lot of different Native Americans wearing either the single braid or the twin braids, and the reason why that is because they have kept that from their ancient ancestors. You know, they got that from quote-unquote Adam and Eve. Because quote-unquote Adam, I think he had his hair in 2 braids, and Eve had her hair in 1 braid. I can't remember which one it was. It was one or the other. But you'll see the same thing here. And the reason why the natives do it and most other people don't is because they descend from Shem. A lot of people, they don't necessarily descend from Shem, and they don't have this knowledge anymore. In fact, I shouldn't even say Shem. They descend from, you know, much of them descend from the children of Israel. Right? Or they descend from Aki, because both of those groups kept a lot of their ancient ways. So, that's pretty much why they have this knowledge, and they wear their hair like their first parents and other people don't. So, let's get back to the movie.
Take it easy.
See his hair?
I need you to sit down. Jake,
It's okay.
That's not an accident, bro.
listen to me.
Oh, good, I got this.
You need to sit down.
Guys, get him back on the gurney now. Listen to me. You say if you need to sit.
Skip ahead.
Oh, come on, you ain't got no skills.
You ain't got no skills. Come on, bro. Who are they talking about? playing basketball, tall, right? Who are they talking about? Are they talking about you? Or 60, 70% of you? Is that what they're talking about? Bro, like, people don't know that they got this from the Maya. The Maya were playing basketball and football and soccer and handball and all these different things. They got all this stuff from them. They got it from you. And all they did was repurpose it and act like they made it. But they ain't make shit, bro. Talking in Ebonics, you ain't got no skills. That's on purpose, bro. I promise you, stuff's on purpose.
I don't even have to play defense. Hey, guys. Hey, it's okay. I'll get him. Jake.
They couldn't wait so that they could play some damn basketball. Wow, you mean I can fly high like that nigger Michael Jordan?
Jake, excuse me. Sorry.
And the first thing that he wants to do is what?
Jake, we're not supposed to be running.
Is run. Now, of course, it could be because, you know, he didn't have legs before. But they want to do all these things that so-called black people are known for doing. Right? That's what they want to do. But they're not just any sort of black people. They're the chosen black people. They're the chosen brown people. They're the chosen people. That's why on top of them, you know, playing basketball and doing all these things, right? Being athletic. Because it's more than you just being an athlete. Like, that doesn't make you the chosen. There's people more athletic than the children of Israel. That's not necessarily what makes you the chosen. It's everything. It's everything. It's the knowledge that they have. It's the land that they're on. Not all the tribes are all, you know, athletic and tall. That's not true either. Right? You know. That's the first thing he wanted to do, man. Okay, so let me get back at you guys in a second. Okay, so there's another scene that I want to show you, and this is proving where they are. You see, the climate like this is a tropical climate. You see these hills, these mountains and stuff? This looks like Brazil. This looks like Brazil. And she even hands him a fruit. I showed you in yesterday's video about the Axis Mundi, about what the Spanish conquistadors were saying about this place, how they had all these amazing fruits and animals, and it was a paradise. It's a terrestrial paradise. This has to be the terrestrial paradise, the Garden of Eden. That's what they were saying.
Grace?
Well, who'd you expect, numbnuts? Think fast. Rudder control's looking good.
See how his eyes lit up when he bit into it, and how juicy the fruit is? Where do you think that's talking about, bro? This could be the Caribbean too. And another thing, I'm just catching things. I'm just catching straight things, bro. What land is closest to the sky? South America is the closest land to the sky in the whole world. Excuse me. Whoa. It's the closest land to the sky in the whole world. So them being able to see all these different planets and stuff close, I understand they're saying that it's a different world. But that's what they said. I'm not the one who called it a new world. They were the ones who called it a new world. You know? They were the ones who called it that, not me. Okay, so continuing, there's another part of this that I wanted to show. One of the reasons why I didn't really like this movie when I first saw it, is because I know what they're trying to do, the game that they're trying to run. You know, they're trying to get you, or get us to be in this dynamic of, you know, there are good ones and bad ones, which I understand that, but they're almost putting this whole white savior dynamic. Like, that's what they're really known for. Like, they did it in that movie Planet of the Apes as well. Another movie that's kind of, talking about the children of Israel. But they're pretty much making a dichotomy. They're showing you both of these people when they're both invaders. Like, they're both invaders. They're both on the same type of mission. They don't end up doing the same things, but they're on the same type of mission. They both come on someone else's home, unwelcomed, unwanted. Don't ask nobody, nothing. Already, like, you know, making their own bodies, and they're just doing what they want. Both of them. So, I'm looking at this movie like, wait a minute. Why are they trying to make it out like this dude is the bad guy and this one is the good guy? To me, both of these people are invaders. So I don't know. Like, if this were me, I'd be like, listen, all these animals, go eat up all their stuff and get them the hell up off my land. That's what I'm doing. I'm not letting either of them stay. Not unless the Great Spirit tells me, hey, he's good, he's bad. I'm not letting you stay. What are you talking about? But anyway, I wanted to show this, because he says something very interesting.
A few years ahead of you, well, maybe more than a few. 3 tours Nigeria, not a scratch. I come out here, day 1, think I felt like a shaved tail Louis.
So he talks about how they did all these things in Venezuela and Nigeria, and he didn't get a scratch. But as soon as he comes here, now, oh, like, damn, this is hard. And that's what I was saying at the beginning, how they're trying to frame it as if, these are, like what they did in our lands in South America, that's not what they're doing here. As if there's a difference. When in reality, this is sort of Venezuela that you're in. And the Spanish, they even said that when they first got here, like, they hated the jungle. They called it a green hell. Because they couldn't even move anywhere. They couldn't go anywhere. And they had to force us to do many of these things. they had to force us to guide them and stuff like that. Like, anyway. Quickly, another thing I wanted to mention is that you're seeing a dynamic between this dude and the main character. How this dude, he obviously prefers his machinery, his quote-unquote Deca Darshoi, his fallen watchers. And the other character, he's going to be moved towards the side of nature and connecting to the planet just like the natives. So they are showing this good guy, bad guy dynamic, right? And I don't disagree with the fact that as movie characters, that it's a good guy, bad guy dynamic between him and this other dude. But in reality, that's not how things are going to work. That's not how things are going to work. But anyway, I just wanted to show that. Okay, so continuing. This is just another thing I'm talking about. I can't see this guy, or any of these people, as quote-unquote good guys. One, you are coming on someone else's land, bringing all these guns and machinery and stuff like that, not knowing how it's going to affect the environment or nothing like that. And that just does not make sense. You are very disrespectful. And they don't harp on that in this movie. Like, the natives, they're not, like, they're so passive. And there's nothing wrong with being passive, but when you disrespect the earth, when you disrespect the land, I'm not going to be passive. That's the mother. You tripping. So is this not supposed to resemble South America? With all these colorful birds and these waterfalls and mountains and... these really, really big trees. What is this supposed to represent? And another thing, they'll even get a multi-ethnic class, or cast of people. Not that multi-ethnic, but we'll make sure that they get, like the Latin person, the white people. I don't know if there was any black people, in their entourage or anything like that. I can't remember. To get an East Indian, right? They make sure to do this to throw you off. And that isn't to say that it was only white people who came over here. Not at all, but, you know, they do these things to just throw you off and not think about, well, maybe this is talking about them coming to the Americas. This don't look like the, I forgot how you say it, the Igzu something falls. I forgot how to say it, but it's is right next to the border of Brazil, and I think Argentina and Bolivia. It's something like that. It's in the middle of South America, but it looks like it. Anyway, I just wanted to show you how the landscape looked. Okay, so this is another reason why it's apparent that they're talking about South America when, you know, they're showing the scenery. Because this is how it looks when you're looking up at, you know, inside the jungle and you just see, like, rays of sun through these really tall trees. They were saying how there were just an array of animals that they've just never seen before. They've never seen before. And they also listed all these different animals that were here that supposedly they brought over. That's another interesting thing. It's another interesting thing that they were listing lions and horses and, you know, like, I thought they brought those over here. Well, they didn't bring lions over here, but I thought there were no lions in South America. I thought they were all extinct. And not only that, they'll show a bunch of different strange animals. Strange animals, strange trees, strange fruits, all of which they have never seen before. All of which is what the Spanish said. And this is the Spanish with their guns. With what we call the lightning rods. Okay, so for the first time, we are introduced to the very first one that we meet. Now notice, when I mean the first one, the first actual one. Another thing I also want to mention before I go into her is that how come they decide to get something with the same exact skin color and body to go and go through that place? They did that because they're trying to blend in. They're trying to seem more peaceable, right? Because they could have put any. Like, you don't have to have like blue skin. You don't have to do that. They could have put any skin color. They just have to make it habitable for this place. That's all they had to do. So, what I'm saying that's to represent is them coming over here and using these Negroes, quote unquote, these other brown people, to pacify many of these Indians, because that's exactly what they did. You see, the Indians weren't going to listen to a lot of these, you know, these white peoples. So they were using these Moors and these black people as middlemen. That's what they were doing. They were using them as middlemen. Even in Peru, they were using them as the middlemen. That's why I've had my doubts about some of these Moors. I'm not saying they were all, like, bad, but I am saying that they are working hand in hand with the so-called white man. That's very, very apparent. They were using them because the Indians were going to fight against these white peoples. So they're just like, you know what, if we get people who look closer to them, maybe they'll listen to them. And that's pretty much what they did. But hold up. That would then mean that these Negroes that they're getting spoke their language. You see what I mean? So the point I'm trying to make is that they had to come and blend in. Like, Columbus wasn't a white man. Columbus was brown, the same way the Indians were brown. Now, to touch on what like her design, first of all, she has these long braids, right? With these attachments on the braids. She doesn't always have braids, but sometimes she has braids. And what is her primary weapon? The bow and arrow. the common theme that we've been seeing. Hunting just like Indians do. Very quiet. They'll hide behind the bushes. With feathers in her hair. I didn't even noticed that until now. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. So this is another part that I wanted to share. So she rescues him after I don't know what it's called, the Navi, something like that. It's some sort of messengers from the Tree of Life, right? And it pretty much tells her not to shoot him, so she decides to rescue him from these animals. And after she kills these animals, she prays over them.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now he doesn't know what she's doing. That's why I kept saying that, because she was doing that for a while.
That's pretty impressive.
Okay, so there's another part that I wanted to show you. You gotta be kidding me. Like, are you serious? Who else is that talking about, bro? They're even yakking like Indians, like, come on now. What are they just like? They're on horses, their version of horses, with bows and arrows. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Now I forgot who this dude is. I forgot who he is, but look at his hairstyle. Why does he have a mohawk? Why does he have a mohawk? I have all these. Look at this. This is a band around his arm. No one else does this, bro. They do this in some parts of like West Africa and stuff, but they're talking about a specific group of people. Because you have these things, you know, in certain places around the world, but this was the center point. This is where it all came from. That's crazy, bro. A mohawk and everything. So to show you the, you know, the quote-unquote chief, look at how he's dressed. This is exactly, or not exactly, but very, very similar to how native chiefs dress. With the, you know, with the bones around the necklace and stuff like that. Right? Now they have similar things in Africa too, and you know, in cultures in West Africa and stuff like that. But my point is that where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? Where's the origin point? You can have similar things, but where is the origin point? You have similar things all around the world. You see that guy right here who's wearing this thing, right? That looks like something that you'd see in Africa. But there's natives here who do the same thing. On top of that, using the bow and arrow and riding on horses and stuff like that. Yeah, where are they getting it from? Okay, so this part is incredibly important. It's incredibly important. Check this out. And again, she has to speak to these animals in her native tongue, the same way that the elves had to do in The Lord of the Rings. How, what is her name? Arwen, something like that. She spoke to the horse in her tongue, and the horse moved. So she just said, I'm guessing she said to settle down, and it settled down. Now, what is he using? He's using his hair to connect. Now, let me show you something. The long hair has has symbolic significance, tying them to Mother Earth, whose hair is long grasses. It is believed that long hair in Native American culture is a physical manifestation of the growth of the spirit, and some say it allows for extrasensory perception and connection to all things. So you have a culture that is known for keeping their hair long and taking care of their hair. That's only one culture. It's also in Asia too, but that's my point. Asia has a piece of our culture, Africa has pieces of our culture, Europe has pieces of our culture, but where's the center point? Where is it? A source of power. Hair has special, spiritual, and cultural significance for tribes. Through traditions and styles vary from tribe to tribe, whether worn long, braided, or bound in a knot. Most North American indigenous peoples see hair as a source of strength and power. Hairstyles helped to define both individuals, nations, and societies within those nations. So, all these different haircuts and lineups and waves and stuff like that, that's not stuff that we did. That's not stuff that we did. You will see in the Bible that the Israelites always had long hair. I think his name is Habakkuk or Habakkuk or something like that. The angel grabbed his hair and brought him to from point A to B. So your hair had to be long enough for someone to grab you and pick you up. Do you get what I mean, bro? We always had long hair. We always had long hair. I think there's a prophecy, I think it might be in the Seal portion 2019, where it said that, there will be a people who will wear their hair long again, like their ancestors or something like that. You guys know it. You guys know it. But yes, we wear our hair long, bro. Our hair, it connects to Mother Earth. It connects to Mother Earth, bro.
That is the hair. The bond. Here.
The bond. What did we just read? The bond between what? Mother Earth. The animals, the plants, all they are a part of Mother Earth or Pachamama. They're all a part of them. Or a part of her. Okay, so I guess I was finally able to find a so-called black dude, but, well, he was there before. I thought it was an East Indian, but either way, what they're trying to do now is they're trying to plot on how to destroy these people, destroy their power source and conquer them, take their resources. That's what they're doing. But they did all this before. Again, they're trying to make it as if this is something that might happen in the future and just fictional. This is something that's already happened. I want you guys to listen to how she pretty much speaks to this animal. Because it's not always about speaking in a tongue. It's also about vibrations, sounds, things like that. That's why the natives, they will do these screeches and stuff like that. Because this is like a vibration that they're putting out. Right? Like a war cry. It's not just something that they just do. Like, there's a meaning to everything.
What?
You are ready.
Okay, so this is when she shows him, like, I think the tree of the ancestors. I think she said something like that. I don't remember, guys. I'm skimming through this movie. I'm not necessarily watching it, like, sitting down and watching it. I'm just picking out different parts. Because I gotta go back to work. But, yeah, this is very interesting what she says. So I'm gonna play this part. Pause. What happened? Hold on. So she connects her hair. The tree of voices. The voices of our ancestors. And what do they use? They use their hair to connect to it. They use their hair. There's another thing, I can't remember who said it. It was maybe in like a YouTube video or something like that. But they did an experiment between the Indians who had hair versus who didn't have hair, who pretty much had their hair cut from, you know, being in the Indian schools and stuff like that. But Indians who had hair, they were able to move 3 days before. 3 days prior to people coming to take over their land. They moved 3 days before and no one told them anything. And these people are like, how the hell did they know this? Now the Indians who didn't have hair, they pretty much got trounced on. So obviously, long hair is a connection to our ancestors. How they're able to help us out. Because that's exactly what the natives said. To even cut your hair and just throw it away is disrespectful to our ancestors. They said that our ancestors dwell within our hair. And that's why they take so good care of their hair. So, that's pretty crazy, bro. And I don't know what you mean, because they're not your ancestors. But, you know, I know that's not the point of this movie. And, you know, there's nothing, and again, there's nothing really wrong with the premise. I just don't like how they're trying to tell, like our story from their point of view. But, and then again, it is a movie, and they are the director, so I can't really complain. Another thing, they have these things around their neck. They have the chokers around their neck. That's another interesting thing. Okay, so they were pretty much using this dude to be like a spy so that they can conquer these people and find the source of their power. So that's pretty much what they're doing right now. And it's funny because that's how Columbus and the rest of them were used. They were used as these like spies or informants, right? And then once they got the knowledge, once they figured out how to destroy them, they came and did it.
When's the last time you took a shower?
The shower.
Now, were some of the people who came over here after learning the natives, like their ways and their culture and their customs, were acting like this, like, oh no, like this is a big mistake, like don't destroy this, right? I'm sure. Okay, so now this pretty much ties up what we spoke about yesterday about the Axis Mundi and the World Tree. Now, where is this World Tree? In their land. Now we know that they're talking about the Americas. Now they're telling you where the World Tree is. The World Tree is not, I really don't think it's in the North Pole. I think that it was in South America. Because this whole landscape looks like South America. These whole people look like the Indians that were in that region. They're dressing like them, painting their bodies, tattooing themselves, bow and arrow, stuff like that, right? All this tropical fruit and environment. This is what it's talking about. And look what these people are going to do to the World Tree.
Well. I'd say diplomacy has failed. Alright, people, let's get this done. I want every gas round you got right in the front door. Roger, 10-20 going on. Bingo. I got shoelace.
That's using arrows against machinery, bro.
Throws an open fire. You got to kiss me. These dumb bastards ain't getting the message. Alright, let's turn up the heat. Switch it 10 years.
This is them destroying the world tree.
And that's how you scatter the roaches. It's Eric! We gotta move! He's gonna blow the cops! Let me move!
The hell did you say, Allahu Akbar? I know he did not say that. What the hell? That's what the Muslims be saying when they're going to commit suicide. But I don't know if he said that or not. Just skip ahead. Okay, so they're destroying the world tree. Again, the world tree is at the center of the world. So where did they come to do all this? At the center of the world. Now it's toppling. Now it's falling. Is that saying that they did this 500 years ago? I don't know, because this is not the first time that I've seen this motif of these invaders destroying the world tree. It's not the first time that I've seen it. So I don't know. I don't know how they did that. And plus, the natives didn't say that they destroyed the world tree. It said that it pretty much popped open during Noah's flood. So I don't know. That's devastating, bro. Okay. Okay, so now this tree is being used to, I guess, restore these people, to put their soul into these bodies. And you can see this as them, I guess, quote-unquote, converting. And this is their story, because I don't know about all that, but I don't know. I just don't know about it. Okay, so there's one more thing I wanted to show you. Okay, so this is the last thing I wanted to show you guys. And this is something I've been looking into. I just don't know for sure. Now, the Indian word for wife is supposed to be awa. In the quote-unquote Hebrew or Chaldeic, it is Iwa or Eve, right? Now the tree, the tree that connects to the ancestors is called Ewa. It says Ewa is the guiding force of life and deity of Pandora and the Navi. The Navi believe that Iwa acts to keep the ecosystem of Pandora in perfect equilibrium. It is sometimes theorized by human scientists that all living things on Pandora connect to Iwa through a system of neuroconductive antennae. This often explains why Navi can mount their dire horse or mountain banshee steeds and ride them immediately without going through the necessary steps required to domesticate such wild animals. It is all because of Iwa, the tree of souls. Now, I read in the Nag Hammadi, man, it was a while ago. I think that so-called Eve, that she went into the tree and she became the tree, something like that. So I wonder if this tree is supposed to represent our first mother and how her spirit fused with, that entity. I don't know. I don't know. Just something I thought about. So let me see if there's anything else that I want to say. If not, I'm going to end the video. Okay, so there actually is one more thing I wanted to share. So let's read this. Iwa has been compared to a number of mythological figures and deities, such as Gaia, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, the triple goddess, or god by those trying to explain the relationship between Iwa and the Navi. And I guess another name they use, Pachamama, that's what they call her in South America. And I believe even in the Tamilian language as well. The Gaia hypothesis follows on that the entire biosphere acts like a single organism, or at least a complex system, soft Gaia, or that the Earth is consciously manipulating the biosphere in order to make conditions more favorable to life, hard Gaia. On other comparable figures and entities include Joro in Norse mythology, the personification of the Earth, similar to the Native Americans' religious view of the planet being one living entity. Her title, All Mother, resembles that of the Norse god king Odin, the All Father. More poetically, Iwa's embodiment as plant life may be a reference to Yggdrasil, the tree of life, a holy embodiment in Norse mythology. Yggdrasil is a tree said to be the root of all life, sent to keep the natural order of life on earth. It balances the three worlds, the gods' worlds, man's worlds, and the underworld. The Maori earth goddess, Papatwannuku, who is believed to be the living embodiment of the earth and gave birth to all the living creatures, including people. Maori also have strong spiritual ties to the land, similar to the Navi. The theological concept of universal selfhood, of a unified flow of the universe and natural world, is present in Buddhist and Taoist philosophy. So that's pretty much my review on the movie Avatar. I might have a few other things that I want to share with this series. May peace be with you.